Hello, Iain.
Hi Emil, how are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Perfect. Guys, welcome back to the Sunday Sessions Part 2 with Iain McPherson from Panda Sons in Edinburgh. Um, Probably one of the most astonishing bartenders that we have in the world right now, and a true legend by itself. So today, Iain, we're going to go through how you think about how you should work with Mackmyra Svensk Rök and how to work around with cocktails when you're at home or when we are open up our bars. A little bit like uh, your expression of how you should use it. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'm just gonna have my kind of take on the roca. But, it's a very lovely peated Swedish single malt. I think also as much as it being very smoky, I think Tristan touched very nicely on the different styles of smoke on his Sunday session. But it's not. It's very much the strongest flavor characteristic in the whiskey, but it's not overpowering all the other flavors. So you're still getting a lot of like raisin fruits, a really nice added like kind of sweetness to it that I really enjoy, and a really lovely long finish. And I think the great thing about this smoky single malt whiskey is it's still very versatile. I'm Scottish, and we're very lucky to have amazing smoky whiskies here also, but a lot of them kind of lend to very kind of more limited options and what kind of cocktails you can make.
Yeah. Like I talked a little bit about Tristan about like how we grew up with in Sweden with the how we see like how the smoky notes are and how we how we pour everything to food to like the flavor. Do you have any like childhood memories of smoke, but not like single malt smoke? Do you feel like that you have those kind of memories that you can rely on when you try to do cocktails now with smoke?
Smoke, I mean, the weird thing for me is whenever I think of smoke, I actually think of this day called Guy Fawkes Day, and it's quite a horrible, not horrible, but it's not as like a pleasant story, but it's one we were taught at school. So I always think about bonfires because we all light big fires on this day, Guy Fawkes Night, and that reminds me of this. So it's more, probably less about flavors per se, but that's definitely the memory that comes to mind first most of the time when I think of smoke. Um, but I love the smoke in this Mackmyra expression because it's really well rounded. Some whiskies you taste the smoke and then you taste everything else, whereas I find in this single malt the flavors are all kind of one, really nicely married together.
Cool. And the cocktails you're gonna do today, it's completely two different ones. But like one fizzy one and one more like old fashioned style.
Sure, yes, and I do run a lot, but not to the extent that Tristan is doing. And I just want to say a massive congratulations to what he achieved last week. But I went for a run today, and with the Fizz one, I wanted to kind of incorporate a bit more about foraging. And during this time of the year in Scotland and I guess the UK, the gauze bushes or the gorse bushes, they're really flowering, really lovely. So you get this really nice kind of yellow flowers growing
Yeah.
on the bushes. And the petals are the edible parts of the plant. But when you're running past all these bushes, there's a really kind of lovely coconut aroma, or I guess a kind of like a nice sun cream smell. And I just wanted to kind of showcase utilizing this in your drinks. And yes, it's a kind of a weed per se bush that's kind of all around the country, but you can make a really beautiful syrup. You can also make your kind of gorse wine from it. But what I've done today is I've added equal parts sugar and water, so boiling water and then sugar, stirred that until the sugar had dissolved. And then what I've done is I've just packed it full of the flowers here and let it steep for at least a few hours. I'd recommend trying to leave it overnight. And then once that's ready, you just strain it through a cloth or a sieve, and then you're left with a really beautiful kind of yellow colored syrup here. And this one I've kind of I call it the coconut, so like a fake coconut fizz. And it's one that's very simple to make. So we start off with a nice healthy measure. So 40 mils of the rog. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
Trying my best. 40 mils. And then we do a nice 20 mils of the syrup. And, not everyone's going to be readily easy to get gorse bush flowers. Another thing that's readily available that I find is a really good substitute is chamomile. So you can just buy chamomile tea bags and just add a few tea bags into your syrup and just leave it to kind of cold brew for overnight 6 to 12 hours, and that works really nicely as well. So again, I like touching on like last week, just created this drink so it's more versatile. So if you keep to the 40 ml whiskey and 20 ml syrup, you can get creative and make your own flavored syrups, and it lends really nicely to this this formula of ratios of the cocktail. And then what we do here is we just add a little bit of soda water, because we just want to make sure that all the ingredients are mixed together. Just give it a little stir. And then we're going to add some ice to this now.
But I think it's like people in general, when you talk about foraging, I just think it's great for people to go out and try to find their own ingredients.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're doing that for ages, so it's kind of makes sense if you want to create cool cocktails at home. It's really good to just go out in the forest and see what you can find, and try to not find anything that it's seriously poisonous.
Exactly, and I guess with us right now, we're only technically allowed to go outside once a day. So what I did today was I incorporated my exercise, which was my run, obviously go for a walk. And then I planned my routes around where the gorse bushes were. So it was also a nice kind of productive exercise. So I was able to get some really nice flowers. And it was just a really nice time just to go out, just doing some simple foraging. That's it. So you top up with more soda, give it another stir again. And that's the coconut fizz. So a really simple, really delicious 3-ingredient cocktail.
Cool.
And it's just a really beautiful color. I like using a wine glass because it's kind of like a nice white wine color there as well.
Yeah. It really showcases the great
coconut aromas. Yeah. I mean, coconut works really well, I think, with smoky whiskies. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that with the use of gorse flowers with this, and it just makes it a really delicate, refreshing drink. And I think especially like here at the moment, it's beautiful blue skies, and I think this is a very fitting drink to enjoy when the sun's out.
Yeah, it's really smart. And I think Tristan also touched a little bit based on how he likes coconut with smoky notes. Why do you think like coconut goes so well with the smoky notes?
It's a good question. It just works really well. I don't know what the technicality is of it, but for example, one of my favorite spirit and mixers or whiskey mixer is just coconut water. You can make like a whiskey highball, just do a healthy measure of Mackmyra whiskey, and then just top it up with coconut water. It just works so well. We do I guess talking more technically, we do more like fat washing with coconut oil in a lot of our whiskey cocktails as well. And yeah, it just coconut and whiskey is just like it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, really cool. So what's up next after that? Because you talked a little bit before about ginger, and that's also a great match together with whiskey in general.
Sure. So I'm just going to try and see if this works. I'm just going to slide my table along here and see if I can get.
It looks great.
And this is our other cocktail. So so what we've got obviously is the Mackmyra, and this one's called Smoke and Spice Old Fashioned. And so what we're touching on here is the lovely spicy notes of the rook, and so that's where the ginger comes in, and just kind of keeping it really simple, really nice old fashioned. So again, you're not really needing loads of technical cocktail equipment. And what I've made here is a ginger syrup. So what I do is you get your fresh ginger root, chop it up, And then if you have a blender or a food processor, just blend it slightly. And then through a tea towel or a muslin cloth, just get the juices out. And then what we do there is equal parts, whatever of the ginger juice you have left, we add the equivalent of caster sugar. Not everyone's going to have, I guess, a food processor or a blender at home. Don't worry. Another way you can do it is you do water. You chop the ginger as finely as you can, and then you cook it together, simmer it for 20 to 30 minutes, and then leave it to cool, and then add sugar and mix it together. It's very similar. I just find if you can blend the ginger, you're still really getting that real fresh ginger taste, which gets a little bit lost when you cook it. So so what we're going to do here is 50 mils of the rook. I think I'm getting better at pronouncing the rook as we go along in this video, so bear with me. So yeah, 50 mils, and then we do 10 mils of the ginger syrup. And again, this one, if you've got a sweet tooth, you can add a little bit more. If you don't have a sweet tooth, you can add a bit less. But I think 10 mils is a good average for a basic 1-to-1 sugar syrup. So basically like 1 part juice or water, part sugar. And then Angostura bitters, which you can get in pretty much most supermarkets. And it's, just a great bitters. There's such a versatile bitters to use in many, many cocktails. And we just do 2 dashes or 3 dashes in there. And then quite simply, we just add ice to this.
So Iain, I talk a lot, I also, bartenders love Angostura. It's weird that if they don't. But what do you feel is like when you talk about Angostura together with whiskey cocktails? Do you feel that it's making the cocktails more deep, or is it the more that you want like the cardamom or the spiciness to get in front, or how do you work with it? How do you feel like when you're doing like an old fashioned, and what do Angostura do for you?
The great thing about bitters is it adds more another layer of flavor. Obviously, it gives it more depth and a longer finish. If some of your ingredients don't really have a long finish, this is a perfect time to use it. But then also, I find it works as like a bridging ingredient. So as much as ginger and whiskey work together, it just helps marry the flavors together in a more of a seamless flavor. It really kind of just helps connect the dots into it. So there we go. We've stirred it down, diluted it, and also got it really nice and cold. And then with the leftover ginger root here, just going to cut a thin slice of ginger. And then just kind of touch on the top of the glass and leave it on the top so you're getting a really lovely fresh ginger aroma. And so that is the smoke and spice old fashioned. So again, recap, that was 50 mils rook, 10 mils of the ginger syrup, 2 to 3 dashes of your Angostura bitters, stir it down to dilute it and get it nice and cold, and then garnish the piece of ginger. And that's the smoke and spice old fashioned.
Really nice. Thank you, Iain. So next week we're gonna do the Sunday session, but with the Svensk Ek, the Swedish oak. So it's going to be fun to see what you're going to do then. As you can see in the bottom screen now, you can use the promotion code to buy.
Where is it?
Svensk Rök. Yeah, exactly there. And you get an £8 discount that goes directly to Panda Sons to help them out during this crisis. And it's our way to try to give something back to the community. Hopefully buy shitloads of whiskey and help everyone out.
Yeah, I'm just seeing Victoria Jensen's comments on my hair. I gave myself a quarantine haircut last week using my cap, and I just gave myself a bowl cut just out of sheer boredom. So thank you for the compliment. I'm thinking about doing a different haircut next week.
We're looking forward to that. Great seeing you, Iain. See you next Sunday.
Thanks, Emil. Thanks, everyone. Good to see you all.
Good to see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.